Hello there, and welcome to another week of Year One's Ready, Steady, Read activities. We've got 3 new activities this week to help your child with their reading, with their writing, and helping them prepare for that move from reception to Year One. So we've got obviously 2 weeks for most kids before we go back to school, and we've got 3 new activities that are very easy to set up and try for you to trial into the next term. So the first one are, as usual, we've got our blending activities. And this one is a little bit different because today we're talking about tongue twisters. Now, one of the biggest challenges in Year One is something called adjacent consonants. That's where you have 2 consonant sounds next to each other, like in the word clap. So you've got l. Lots of children really struggle to get their mouths around this because they're just not used to doing adjacent consonant sounds. So often we can find that some children find these harder. One of the best things that you can do to support your child with this new step is ensure that their mouth and that their vocal cords are practicing saying words. I know, sounds really simple, doesn't it? But a great way you can do this is tongue twisters. So I've got a variety of tongue twisters for you to try. But these are fab because they are designed to make it really, really hard for your child to say them. This is great, particularly if you do them as well, because your child will see that you mess up, so it's okay for them to mess up. This is a really valuable thing for them to learn, if they haven't learned it already, is that, we're all learning all the time and we can keep practicing, we can keep trying. And if they are saying, red lorry, yellow lorry, and then they go red la 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 la, that's funny. That's okay. It's not them not getting it right. It's them trying and making progress. So again, if you can do this with your child, fantastic. But ultimately, the more tongue twisters you do, or, one a week, great. One every so often, one in a car journey, great. All of that is training your child's mouth muscles and their vocal cords to be able to move around tricky sounds and control those tricky sounds, which will help a lot with their reading later on. So while this is a bit of a different activity, it is still one that is really, really valuable, and I hope you have a great time with it. If you know of any other tongue twisters that I haven't included in the list, please do pop them below, either in the comments, wherever they are, and let me know, because I'd love to expand my repertoire of tongue twisters, and see if I can do them as well. That would be great. So I hope you enjoy. I hope your little one finds this great fun as well, and I'll see you for the next activity. Hi there, today's activity is all about fluency. Now, I know a lot of people worry that when their kids are starting to learn to read, it's very robotic and it's very sort of k, ah, t, cat. There's no sort of fluency to it. And often we hear from teachers that that is something that we want our kids to be encouraged to do. We want them to be more fluent with their reading so that they can remember things more easily, and so that they can, expand their comprehension, which ultimately is the point of reading. We want to read to learn rather than learn to read. So today we're going to look at a system that can help us start to build fluency. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is something that can help encourage your child to read more fluently over the course of the year. Now, I will say, kids do not start Year One reading fluently. It's normally round about the end of the summer term that kids have this amazing light bulb moment and suddenly start reading more fluently. So it stops becoming the at, cat, at, sat. It becomes the cat sat. And it's amazing. It's brilliant when you see it happen and your kids have this moment like, oh, I can read. Brilliant. Fantastic. But today's activity will help to build that. And it's really, really simple to try. So it's called Slide It. All you need are a bunch of flashcards with the sounds on. So s, a, t, for example, written out, and something that you can slide. So you can use a toy car, you can use a bottle cap, whatever works. What you want to encourage your child to do is firstly identify the sounds. So s, a, t. And then you want them to slide the car along to do the sounds. So it then becomes sat. So as they slide past, they say the sounds. The reason this is so valuable is because it encourages your child to elongate the sounds, hear the change between the sounds, and then blend the word more easily. This is also great because as your child gets older and does more reading, they'll find this method easier and easier, and they'll start doing this almost automatically when they're reading words. So if you don't have a car, you can use a bottle cap. You can use it with any words. If you don't have either and you want to do something a bit more active, you can absolutely just put the flashcards on a slippery floor and get your child to slide their feet along them. Also great if you have those wheelie trainers. But that's the activity for this week. I have also included a video on open and closed sounds because some words are going to be easier to blend this way than others. So using words that have what are called open sounds, so words you can extend, is going to be much easier. So I have a video on that as well. But hopefully you find this useful. Let me know how it goes, and I'll see you for our next activity on Friday. Hi there. Today we are looking at probably the most important part of reading, which is comprehension, or understanding what we've read. So obviously, it's great that our kids learn to read. We want them to be able to read as many things as they possibly can, but if they are reading without understanding, what's the point? They need to be able to get something out of what they've read. They need to be able to understand it. And that's what we're going to work on today with our comprehension. So you'll notice you have a piece of paper, an extra PDF, with some dice and some questions. You can do this with any book. It's very, very basic, very simple, and something you can absolutely sort of keep next to where you read to try over and over again. If you don't have a dice, you can absolutely use something called Dice Roller. If you type it into Google on your phone, it'll come up with it and your child can just spin it that way. But ultimately, what you're going to do is when you've read a book or you're halfway through a book or anything like that, and you can roll the dice and choose a question. Whatever the question ends up being, you ask your child and you encourage them to say it. So for example, let's say it lands on 3. Who are the characters? Brilliant. So the first time around, that's all they say. They say Biff, Chip and Kipper. Fantastic. You might roll again and you roll a 3 again. So then you'd say, who was your favourite character? So you can build on it and expand those questions there. But we've obviously got the roll and retell sheet for you to use. You can do this as well with their phonics book, so a book that they are reading themselves, or you can do it with a story that you're reading to them. Anything works. But ultimately, the more you do this, the more used to answering questions your child will become, and the more that while they're reading, they will focus and pick up on things that they are meant to be remembering. So that's our last activity for this week. As always, we have our next week's resources as well. And I hope you found this really useful. If you have any comments or queries or any feedback you'd like to give me, please do pop them in the comments. I'd love to know. I'd love to know how I can improve this as well. So I hope you have a great week and I'll see you next week.